WeChat.
Yes.
Then we will change Sujian with Chao Wu.
Yes.
And then Amandeep.
Yes.
WeChat.
Then
Yes.
yeah. Then Mike and D.
Sujian with Chao Wu.
Better. It's
Yes.
already started. Please
And then
start.
Amandeep.
Okay, I'll let me start. Let me open my video and start. So we are live now, Cindy. Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to our Middle East, Africa, and Turkey Web3 building and metaverse Web3 builder competition and metaverse as well. Cindy, are we live now? So
Yes,
shall we start?
already.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. Just because it does not show me any like notification. So sorry. Hi everyone. Hi and welcome everyone for our Alibaba Cloud Middle East, Africa, and Turkey Web3 Builder competition. So as an overview, we'll give you about our competition. So for the countries in the META region, which is Middle East, Turkey, and Africa, they have a huge ability for the blockchain and metaverse to be adopted at the national level, which is a huge opportunity to step into the spotlight as a pioneers in the Web3 space. And this is a very impressive. The META region in Web3 Builder competition will feature multiple tracks on the latest innovation in Web3 industry and blockchain technology, with a focus on the hands-on Dapps programming, as well the Web3 open courses, with ecosystem salons that will help you to scale your project to go from 0 to 1. Whether you are a developer building your Dapps, or you are an artist who's creating your first digital arts, or you have a blockchain enthusiast attending a lecture, we have got you covered by our workshop and trainings. So we have covered you with both great workshops to improve your skills or get you started to roundtable talk with our industry experts. So let's together build a promising Web3 futures as in the META region. And you know, the META region has that much of abilities at the moment. So let me take you into the timeline of our workshop. So for today, we will start the enrollments and opening speech. Then tomorrow we will start as well the technical workshops, which are very important. I would like and encourage everyone to join the technical workshops. Then on 26th of November, we will review the investment and ecosystem. Then starting from the 27th of November until 17th of December, we will have the project developments for the attendees in the project developments. As well, we will have the technical Q&A sessions. Then after that, in 18th of December, it will be the demo day for your project. And then it's the day where we will announce the award for the attendees. So for our agenda today, we will start it with the opening speech, and we need to welcome the Enterprise Vice President of Dubai Silicon Oasis, Mr. Sharif Kamel. So please, Mr. Sharif Kamel, you can start ahead. Thank you. The Enterprise Vice President of Dubai Silicon Oasis, Mr. Sharif Kamel. So please, Mr. Sharif.
Hello, all web builders around the world. Welcome. My name is Sharif Kamel from Dubai Silicon Oasis. I would like to thank the organizer of this META Web Builder competition for inviting me As everybody knows, in the last years, metaverse and blockchain technology has a new generation of the internet technology revolution. We also feel the very range of promises of the blockchain to empower a new economics. Over the past 30 years, we have witnessed a big number of innovation and brilliance born to the Web 1.0 and Web 2.0. Today, you will enter the world of the Web 3.0 and experience new innovation again. This innovation may make big revolutions of our current way of life, and we expect it will be happen very soon. On 2022, Dubai government announced the launch of the Dubai Metaverse strategy, a plan to create Dubai as a metaverse capital, also a Web 3.0 capital. This will enable economic growth through the development of metaverse technology and Web 3 technology as well. I think this event will be a very good start point. We are looking forward to have more events in the future and welcome all web builders around the world to explore opportunity in the meta area.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. So now we're gonna go for the next session, which will be conducted by the CEO of Real Investment Co. and the member of Saudi Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Naif Al-Mubti. Please, Mr. Naif, you start ahead. Thank you.
السلام عليكم. معكم نايف المبتي، عضو في مجلس الأعمال السعودي الصيني. درست في الصين لمدة 8 سنوات، أدرس اللغة الصينية والتجارة الدولية والاقتصاد. بالنسبة للبلدان في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا على وجه الخصوص، فإن القدرة على اعتماد بلوكتشين على المستوى الوطني هي فرصة كبيرة للظهور في دائرة الضوء كرواد شرعيين في مجال الويب 3. بالمقارنة مع نظيراتها الولايات المتحدة وأوروبا، فإن الأمور القانونية في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا منظمة بشكل أسهل وأفضل، بل وأسرع وأسهل في الفهم، وهي ليست صعبة في التنظيم. تتوسع نحو نماذج اقتصادية جديدة ومبتكرة بدءا من دبي إلى الرياض، وستصبح هنا مركزا عالميا للويب 3. من 14 نوفمبر إلى 18 ديسمبر عملت الويب 3 أول مسابقة بالاشتراك مع علي بابا كلاود وتشاينا اي دي ونت جوم، نظمت من أجل جمع رواد الويب 3 في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وتركيا وأفريقيا. بغض النظر عن كونك طالبا جامعيا أو متمرس في التكنولوجيا، مطوري تكنولوجيا المعلومات نرحب بكم للانضمام إلى ورش العمل وتقديم مشاريعك في المسابقة. دعونا نبني مستقبل جيد في منطقة الميتا للويب 3.
Thank you, Mr. Naif. Now, we will start with as well the opening speech again with our General Manager of Middle East, Africa, and Turkey, Mr. Daniel Jiang. So please, Mr. Daniel, start ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Jiang, General Manager of the Alibaba Cloud in MEA region. Nice to meet all of you. Now the Web3 is very hot in the world because this technology with blockchain makes a lot of the possibility in future. Lots of the innovation coming. META, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey also very hot in this Web3 events. Now again, the Dubai government just announced the new policy for Web3 innovation in UAE. This is very good signal for all the Web3 fans. Alibaba Cloud has the top 3 group cloud providers. Okay. We also feel with our best technology and global network can give you 40 spot in Web3 innovations. This time, Alibaba Cloud, together with the Chain ID, NetJump, to hold this Web3 builders competition. We want to set up one platform for all the developers. With this platform, you can realize your innovation and show your best ideas. Come and enjoy together in this competition. Let's enjoy. Thank all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for all the encouragement. And as Mr. Daniel mentioned, please, all of you, welcome to our competition, which is a very important and very promising. So for our next session with the CEO of White Matrix and the founder of Chain ID, Mr. Wu Chao. Please, Mr. Wu, start. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa Web3 Builder Competition. My name is Wu Xiao. You can call me Ling, which is my developer name. I'm the CEO of White Matrix and founder of Chain ID. First of all, thank you very much for joining us. The Web3 Builder Competition is proud to be one of the leading events created specifically for blockchain and Web3 developers. We have held developer activities in more than 40 countries in Africa, Indonesia, Vietnam, Russia, China, Canada, America, and many other countries. It is our first time holding a Web3 Builder competition in the whole Meta area. We really thank UAE government, Alibaba Cloud, NetJump, and all our co-organizers and partners to let this happen. As founder of Chain ID, I feel proud of the global developer ecosystem we have built. We co-host Ethereum Shanghai. Vitalik from Ethereum Foundation gave a great topic about Ethereum's plan at this conference. We offered free comprehensive courses called Masterclass with Binance to the African developers, thus establishing a connection with the local developer and communities in the continent. The Binance Masterclass course have a view count more than 100,000 on YouTube and has helped more than 1,000 African blockchain developers, thus incubating more than 50 blockchain projects. We also co-host Rebase Hackathon, which get grants and supports from the Ethereum Foundation, and more than 100 blockchain projects joined in this event. There are a lot I can list, and we are excited to see many great projects grow up in these events. I think the Meta Web3 Builder competition will not only be a perfect starting point for Web3 builders in the Meta area, but also a great opportunities for global Web3 communication. I'm looking forward to seeing more builders joining this event. We have discovered that the blockchain industry has limited possibilities for expansion via pure blockchain technology from our community of developers. However, it is these groups of developers who have explored the ultimate possibilities of blockchain technology. From 2017 to today, I've seen plenty of talented developers pull off amazing feats. We can imagine that such developers are the drivers of the blockchain world, and it is these same developers who will be the pathfinders of the whole blockchain technology. As I said, I appreciate that the developers from different countries can connect through this event. We strive to support the blockchain ecosystem and grow up together with the community. In this Meta Web3 Builder competition, we invite guests from both academic and industry areas. We hope to provide insightful lectures and workshops to help developers join in the Web3 world over the next 4 weeks. I hope you all enjoy this event.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. So it was a pleasure to have you with us as well today. So for now, we will start, dears, for the most important part as well, which is starting our technical sessions for today. So we have one of the most advanced experts into the market for this, for the metaverse and Web3. So we have Dr. Wei Kai. He's the assistant professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. and he will be delivering a session of the metaverse and Web3 and overview. So he can tell you an overview about what the future can be is. So please, Dr. Wee, start with us. Thank you. Dr. Wee?
Better. Yeah, I'm playing, but it is said has some problem. I will show you.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Hello. So if everything is okay, we can keep going. If not, maybe can swap me to online. It's also okay.
Sure, definitely. So shall we go ahead?
Yeah, maybe you can introduce me. I can give a topic.
I believe there is a network connection issue with Dr. Wee. So we are so sorry for that. We will have you, Dr. Wee, again with us. Just then to save the time for you all and continue in our technical sessions for talking about this decentralizing the world, diffusing of Web3 innovation. So again, Mr. Wu Chao will help us to introduce this session to us. So please, Mr. Wu, start with us. Thank you so much. Mr. Wu, is there any issue with the slides? You are actually muted. We couldn't hear your voice.
I see. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen very well.
Cool.
Thank you.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky today. I suppose I'm the last one, but I become the first one. It's just like the Web3. I mean, when you see the opportunity is coming, you catch the opportunity, you become the first one. So
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Today my topic is decentralizing the world, diffusion of Web3 innovation. So hello everyone. I'm Wu Xiao, and Lin is my developer name. I'm the CEO of White Matrix and the founder of ChainIDE. Today, my topic is decentralizing the world, diffusion of Web3 innovation. So part one is from Web2 to Web3. Web2 is hype in the last 10 years. It reshaped all the physical world. For example, Uber changed the way we call taxi. Amazon changed the way we go to supermarket. Coursera changed the way of education, and Alipay changed the way we do online payment. So Web2 is a red ocean. The regulators are putting their hands on Web2 big names. For example, it is hard to find the new incremental market, so the internet giants have entered cruel battles. one of the top of millions of internet company, blockchain-driven castle in the sky start sailing. So we do see a great, increasement of the blockchain technology nowadays. And I want to talk something about Web3 long-term builders. The first question is, why Wakami? Why are all the Web3 core builders so energetic and so optimistic? Why they have faith? I want to show my Web3 journey and try to explain what happened to the very early stage of builders. So this is a meetup in 2018 in Shanghai. These are almost all the coders in China who know how to code Solidity at that time. You can see Vincent, who founded Dapps, and Stephen, who is from a game company, and some of them retired nowadays. Maybe some of them retired, some of them quit the industry, and still few of them are still building, just like me. So this is an event called Sega Game Jam. Game Jam is the biggest indie game competition in the world. And at the Sega Game Jam event, Loom, a company who built Crypto Zombies, co-hosts this event. And this is the first time we have blockchain game as a track. I also joined the party. I also give lectures to some universities and educate coders in 2018, like Peking University, Shanjiao University, and CUHK Shenzhen. So this is a game developer conference in San Francisco. This is a big event for all the game developers. I joined the event and meet some blockchain game builders in the early stage. At that time, almost all the blockchain game developers who in that place, but we cannot buy a booth. We are so poor. We do not have money, and we dream one day we can have many blockchain game booths, and all the Web3 friends can join. You can see the cool builders inside this picture, such as Jihong, co-founder of Axie Infinity, and Gabby, co-founder of YGG, inside this one. You can see all the builders rise from the bear market. They are so optimistic, and they are desperate to win. This year, in 2022, 20% of GDC booths is blockchain game and Web3. You can feel the Wakami and why we are so excited. We believe the things we are building, and we just foresee these ones. And it is earlier than anyone. This is IEEE InfoComm, one of the top-ranked conference on networking. Professor Tsai and I have one paper got accepted by InfoComm, and we have discovered some framework to solve multi-chain connectivity issue for blockchain game. In this conference, we introduced blockchain game to all the researchers and scientists. And this is Paris. It's so beautiful. This is ChainID. Our core product support Facebook Libra, and we attract all the traffic from Facebook Libra ecosystems in 2019, I remember. Yeah. And I give lectures on China Joy and introduce blockchain games at that time also. So this one is Wanxiang Blockchain Summit in Shanghai. You can see founders of Near Protocol, Ilya and Alex from Diffuse. He sold his project to the Graph later, and Dr. Cao from IrisNet. We have a cool panel in 2019. And I also give lectures to Mina friends in Nanjing also. We have Mina friends and they join our lectures. And I give lectures about blockchain games and also cryptocurrency and anything like that. We create the gamification education application for Move in 2019, and you can see more than 100,000 developers come and learn how to code Move. And in Wuzhen Blockchain Summit in Zhejiang, and I also give lectures and panels and try to set up a booth to educate more coders. And for myself, I educate more than 30,000 coders in China. There's no smart way you can do to bring Web2 coders into Web3 world. So our solution is simple. For each this kind of class, there are like 50 to 100 coders, and we'll do it for many, many times. And this is a way how we attract coders from Web2 to Web3. And this is Shanghai Blockchain Week 2020. And we also educate more than 1,000 blockchain engineers in Africa. You can check, this is Binance official website, and it is an 8-week free program. Our team provides 6 weeks contents and teach all the African friends how about blockchain and smart contracts at that time. Students from more than 40 countries in Africa join this event. You can see Chimzi Chuta from Nigeria give a topic. For now, he organized one of the biggest community in Nigeria also. Of course, CZ gave an opening speech, and we bring solid programs for African friends. And yes, Indonesia, CZ joined this event. I teach students how to code also. And yeah, usually we teach people how to design their smart contract, how to deploy their smart contract, and also how to design their first steps. And of course, in Pakistan, we host NFT web seminars and try to attract Pakistan NFT builders. So this is the Cross-Pacific Blockchain Multimedia Data Science Summit. Dean of Science from University of Alberta gave an opening speech, and we help builders from cross-Pacific area. This is Rebase Ethereum's hackathon, and this is the only event in China which get direct support from Ethereum Foundation in 2021. We co-host these hackathons and collaborate with a lot of good friends. And this is the cities we cover, like Beijing, Nanjing, Chengdu, Shanghai, and Shenzhen. We also teach Vietnam coders in Super Blockchains. We collaborate with Binance again at that event. I also give topics to IEEE blockchain. It is an academic organization, and we also want to help more scientists and researchers know more about Web3 and metaverse. We host the first metaverse bootcamps in China. You can see our old friends, Professor Tsai and Vincent. Vincent, he sold his debt review to Binance after that, before that, I think. And Professor Tsai, we have a long-term collaborations. And in this event, I invite all of them to come back and help new builders. We also collaborate with Binance Smart Chain this year also. We build up with the Smart Chain and Chain ID developer bootcamps. And also Hydra developer bootcamps for Africa. You can see Chimzi Chuta comes again, and he's now one of the biggest developer community in Nigeria. And we do the blockchain business bridge for Denmark. And DALI, yeah, DALI is a vibe. I mean, a lot of really good builders also join DALI. It is a small city in the south of China, and at that event, all the coders automatically organize their event, and you can find Web3 geeks everywhere in that city in that time. And it is really cool. And also, I give topics in CCF Blockchain Summit in Hainan. And Meta Week, yeah, this is the stories. I mean, we go to Mina, and after Meta Week, we also set up the meetups for builders. We also co-host Ethereum Shanghai, and Vitalik join us. And also, ambassador from a former ambassador, US ambassador to China join us. And Lupin, the CEO of Consensus, join us and also give a topic. And we love to see Web3 Dubai and Ether Dubai. And I also give topic at that event. And really cool builders. And Token 2049, Singapore. Yeah, I travel to many places to get connected with different developer ecosystems. And it is really good to see these builders that keeps building, they keeps building. And this is Token 2049 in Singapore. I also visit Ant Groups and Alibaba at that place. And you can see Gabby again. Yeah, Gabby from YGG. We reunion in Singapore. And Yesu, CEO of Animoca. We met each other in Token 2049. And also for Jitex Dubai, I give topics in Alibaba Cloud. And this is Puff Studios. I want to talk something about Istanbul and Turkey. They are really good builders in Puff Studios. When I go to their workspace, it is a small house, but I can see all the people, they are keen and they want to build something for themselves. And they are undergraduates and they are trying to build a metaverse and a tool for metaverse. And they bring me to a lot of good food. And from the airport to the hotel, you can see the taxi drivers. They are trying to see some cryptos, and also you can see the Tether as a bank inside Istanbul. And I want to show you this one is real. So this is not the photo, PS photos. This is a real, and I have the video. And also, Puff Studio's friends bring me for some traditional Turkish food, and these are really good. And you can see the night views is really good, and they have a lot of stickers, like the geek stickers for the merch party or for the Web3 community. So Burkhan told me that I should go to Cash if I was a Web3 builder. So the original plan was I want to go to Cappadocia, but I need to have a choice. I mean, I only have limited days in Turkey. So finally, I still go to Cash, a small town. So I choose Web3, and I feel lucky to connect with the Turkish biggest Web3 hub. This is what they are looking like in Cash. I mean, when you do some lectures and you do talk about Web3 everywhere, they have a physical hub, and all the Web3 people can go to that hub and enjoy the events. And when I do the lectures, I can see lots of people, they are even lined up on the street. They are desperate to know what's happening in Web3. And a lot of coders from Russia, from India join in Cash. And they are like digital nomads. This is so cool. And yeah, and the most important thing is that Web3 Hub Cash can hold event every day. I mean, the best developer community in Dubai, they can host event like once a week, but in Cash, they can host an event every day. And how to prove that? I mean, normally for their poster, they have 1 month to have one topic at that night. But when I go to Cash, and they think that I really have some good things to share, so they put 2 months on a poster. Yeah. And I want to show you in Web3 Cash, all the people like. Yeah. I mean, from their eyes, you can see the spirit of Web3. And most of them are Web3 native people. And they just want to know what's happening and what they can help and what they can build. This is the geek culture and why all the people from the Ethereum ecosystems or all the Web3 native builders, they are so excited about everything because we foresee this one and we believe what we are believe and we are building the things that we are proud of. And when you see their eyes, you know it is called we are gonna make it. That is Wagami. And you can feel geeks culture everywhere in Cash. I mean, their password is like for future. And also you can see on the whiteboard, they write something like code is long, law is love. And you can also find the floppy disk for Windows 2.1, I think. And yeah, also nice views. But the most important things in Cash is friends. I mean, builders' friends, they are always very good. I mean, a lot of friends in Cash and a lot of builders in Cash. And there's also a mule bar. It is like a Russian bar, and a lot of Russian engineers always go there. And I want to talk about some opportunities. I mean, we can see the opportunities. The Web2 GDP is onboarding with the Web3 world. So Web3 is the power from bottom or from the top. I mean, from bottom to top or top to bottom. So we think Turkey has mass adoption now, and it is really from the bottom to the top. 45% of Thailand use buy cryptos, and 51% of Visa users buy cryptos, and 4 to 5 countries, they are ongoing. We see the power of Web3, the union from the bottoms, and we do believe the builders can build really cool things and can bring Web3 to be mass adoption. And you can see like the Tezos banks everywhere in Istanbul, and also different places like the physical place. And also we can see some evidence from Mexico. I mean, in Tulum, it is a very beautiful place in Mexico. And they also have a Web3 hub. And my partner is in Mexico, and he can see this is a similar things we shared around the world. For example, Dali in China, Tulum in Mexico, and also Cash in Turkey. Web3 union the power from the bottom, and you can see it is decentralizing the world. And I met with travelers in Jordan, and we ride donkeys. I mean, Kim from Korea, he buy cryptos. Rona from Philippines, she buy cryptos.
And hashtag he's a Bedouin who live kind of local in the cave. Yeah, he didn't buy cryptos, but I mean, if even he is buying cryptos, then that is like the really mass adoption, right? But I mean, when you met with some travelers, 3 of the 4 of them, I mean, they buy cryptos and they know Web3. You know, it is ongoing things. This is really cool. And we also see good friends from Web3 Africa, and we will have help more Web African builders next year. And you can see this second opportunity may be the Web3 last design. I mean, this is a cool product called Point. And you can see on their screens, there's something like, it is a Web2 link. You really want to open it. Maybe in the future, Web2 and Web3 may not that be kind of opposite. But for nowadays, we still see some Web3 builders. They are trying to create the things they are proud of. And sometimes I'm familiar with these gigs, and I think they're pretty cool. And I also want to see more power from Web3 native builders, what they can bring some Web3 native innovations, such as Uniswap. I mean, they just spent 500 lines of code and they can build the infra of DeFi. This is really cool. And for the opportunity too, I mean, the Web3 last time, they also made some infras. I mean, they want privacy, payment, assets, investment, and also maybe it is a good time to invest in some hub for digital nomads. I'm not sure, but we can try. And also for these kind of shadow coders, they do not want to be dogs. I mean, they think it is really cool. They use ENS as their name, or they use the development name as the name. And they love to hide themselves and build something interesting. I just come back from Africa and I go to Cairo, and I also see a lot of cool things happen in Cairo. I mean, they do not allow the exchange for the cryptos, but they have something like the black market. I mean, in the black market, they can buy cryptos secretly, and if they buy the crypto and someone will send their Bitcoins, I mean, in 24 hours. So this kind of things is happened everywhere. And we can see Web3 in the meta area. Things are changing. Even in Egypt, I think next year, they will have a new regulation, how to tax and which things is legal, which things is not legal. I think more things will happen for the Web3, and it is really good to attract more Web3 builders. And also, I mean, the Tether Bank in Turkey and the Lemon in Argentina, they are more like the barbaric growth. For the barbaric growth, I mean, the key point is no rules. The market need is real, and there's no rule in the battlefield. So nowadays, more countries, they focus in these kind of things. And I think later, there are more and more builders they can build the things they want. And this is the future. And also the barbaric growth is in many areas. For example, Professor Tsai and I have one paper published on ACM Multimedia. It is a top-ranked conference in multimedia area, and it lasts for 30 years. Our paper was accepted last year, but our download numbers rise to the top 4 in 1 year. So this is also a kind of a barbaric growth. So finally, what we are building. So ChainID, it is the largest Web3 developer service platforms. I mean, we are the only one you can see on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Flow on their official developer docs. You can see the explanation of ChainID, and you can use ChainID to quickly deploy, compile, and query your smart contracts. And nowadays, there are 70,000 Web3 native dApps that are built on ChainID. Most of them are on NFT, GameFi, DeFi, DAO, metaverse. And this is our business models. We have ChainID, it is a development tools, and we also do a lot of developer educations because we want to bring more Web2 coders into the Web3 world. And in the bull market, we also do some technical services to write code. And all of our team members, we love NFTs. And for myself, I wear Azuki as my identity. And also we have Fantabear. We do love Fantabear. And I also have a lot of Fantabear and also BIYC. So, I mean, this is the things we are building. And at first it is a tooling platforms, and later it becomes the education platforms. And in the end, I hope it can be incubation platforms. We can help more the Web3 builders, and we can attract more the resource to help with them. So I met so many builders in meta area. I love this region. And in the end, I hope we are gonna make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. That was impressive journey, and as well, it's just amazing. You make us like more encouraged to go to look after the future and even into the Web3 development and technologies. So actually, because this is live streaming, so we would like to pick some questions from our comments on the YouTube or in the other live streaming platforms, which is happening now. So if you allow me, please, I will start asking some questions for you. So sure. The first question we picked is about the decentralization. Is a Web3 truly decentralized?
For now, we know decentralization is very important, but we also want to have a mass adoption. If it is too decentralized, sometimes the efficiency may cause some problems. So I think for all the Web3 builders, we need to find some balance between the efficiency and the decentralized. And also, the most important thing is that in the Web3 industry, there are like only 1% of the users and 1% of the builders. We need to focus on the 99% outside Web3. They are from Web2, but we need to lead them. We need to attract them into the Web3 world. That is the most important thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is clearly well. So we will pick one more question as well. So one other question. Yeah. So there is one question say that how to judge the future is truly decentralized.
In the future, I'm not sure. I say I'm not sure. But after the mass adoption, I think more and more decentralized philosophy or more and more builders may think some fancy techniques to help this process, but it need to take full steps. We cannot just jump into the final steps and everything. I don't think that will happen, but I think step by step, finally we will make the things just like Wagami. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. That actually was pretty clear. So we will pick one last question from the live streaming. So the question said that what are the potential challenges for the Web3?
I think for now, Web3 may have something about how to attract the real users. There's a joke that all the Web3 users, they are investors or traders or something. If they look at some Dapps because they want to invest or they want to buy their tokens or something. But yeah, for me, I think we need to have some real users. For example, if it is a GameFi or it is a Web3 games, we need to have the users all the players, they love to buy the weapons, they love to buy the NFT, not for the investment, but also they want to play these games. This is really important. And also for some DeFi or for some DAO users, they love to invest, but what we want is they love to build. So how to attract the real builders and how to attract the real users is a kind of the challenge nowadays in the Web3 industry. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Really, thank you for this session, Mr. Wu. It's a very encouraging session. Thank you so much for that. So for now, Dr. Wei is with us again back. So we would like to invite him once again for his session to introduce the metaverse and Web3 overview. Please, Dr. Wei, start for that. Yep.
This is Wei from the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen. Today I'm very happy to share our views on Metaverse and Web3. So I want to start from a very simple question. What is Metaverse? I believe one of you knows. Snow Crash, it is the first novel that introduced Metaverse to the world. In this novel, the author imagined a future that people might use VR goggles to access a virtual world. And people relies on the virtual world to do a lot of things, including communications, searching for data, and probably, entertainment as well. So Metaverse has been introduced for more than 30 years. It's an old word already. Inspired by this novel, we already seen many movies. For example, Ready Player One, a very famous movie, Free Guy, also a very famous movie as well. If you ever watch these two movies, you realize that VR goggle is something, you know, strongly associated with metaverse, this term. So probably that's the reason in October 29, 2021, when Facebook trying to change their name to Meta, rebranding themselves to a metaverse company, the video Mark Zuckerberg showed to the world is strongly associated with virtual reality. It seems that it's all related to virtual reality. So here, I would like to classify the company who focus on virtual reality or immersive experience into the first community in metaverse. That it is the immersive internet community. In immersive internet community, most of these companies are IT giants. For example, in China, we have Tencent, one of the biggest gaming company in the world as well. NVIDIA, everyone knows about NVIDIA, right? They're providing high performance video cards. And Meta, of course. For this company, they focus on building the next generation virtual reality and augmented reality experience. They focus on human-computer interactions, for example, haptics, even brain-computer interactions, using advanced graphic technology to create meta-human, or even providing lower-layer infrastructures, for example, networking and communication techniques to support the future immersive internet. So that it is the first community I would like to discuss today. However, after Facebook changed their name, CoinDesk, one of the most famous media in cryptocurrency society, they post a very important article online. In this article, they mentioned that Facebook steals another crypto idea for its nonsensical rebrand. According to the article, they believe that the metaverse proposed by Facebook, provided by Meta, is not the real metaverse we're talking about. So why and what it is the real metaverse? Well, let's come back to May 10th, 2021, a bit earlier, okay, half year earlier, before Facebook changed their name to Meta. We noticed that there's a company called Roblox. Roblox, in their IPO files, they call themselves as a metaverse company as well. In their vision, they're talking about their future to be a world as a service infrastructure provider. So Roblox considers themselves not only a gaming company, but a very important service provider to those people who would like to build the virtual world and invite their friends to their virtual world. So that will be the second community talking about the metaverse. I would like to call this community the crowd intelligence community. They are represented by many gaming companies. For example, as I mentioned, Roblox, or even Minecraft, a very, very old and famous game created and operated by Microsoft. In this community, they are trying to provide a platform for people to build all kinds of digital assets. That's why their focus will be user-generated content, or even AI-generated content. They focus on the players or the users' collaboration, sometimes competition, and of course, they might provide incentive mechanisms for people so that they are able to do crowdsourcing. Because eventually those users, they are not consuming the contents in this platform only, but also providing the contents to the platform. So that it is the second community, crowd intelligence community. So if you take a look at the timeline, between 1992 to 2021 is almost 29 years. Is there any other communities using the metaverse as a technical term to describe the future to describe their targets of building. Yes, the Web3 community has been using this term for a long time. Actually, in February 2017, the co-founder of Coinbase, Fred Hersen, he posted an article online saying that the VR is the killer application for blockchain. In this article, he mentioned that, well, people in the future might live in metaverse, just like the one described in Snow Crash. However, what's more important in this article is that he is trying to persuade people, the readers, that in order to protect the digital assets for the users in the metaverse, or even protecting the identities of the users in the metaverse, it's extremely important that we have a transparent, immutable, auditable, fair system or platform to support the metaverse. Because if you read the article, the Snow Crash novel, or if you watch the movie Ready Player One or even Free Guy, you realize that one of the main storyline in these articles or movies is that the operating company for this virtual world becomes evil. And unfortunately, as a user, you cannot do anything because the operating company of the virtual world is the god of that world. So in order to provide a robust future metaverse system, we need decentralized system so that everyone build a system, everyone support the system, and no one can control the system. No one can delete the system with one button. And in this article, he mentioned that blockchain will be the solution, and that in fact it is the core from the Web3 community. So following the article, the first metaverse on Ethereum has started an ICO in 2017 on August. That will be the decentralized metaverse. And in April 2018, CryptoVoxel, another Ethereum metaverse online. So as you can see, it's been a long time, actually more than 3 years, since the Web3 community started to build the metaverse. So that will be the third community talking about metaverse, the Web3 metaverse. It's driven by the cryptocurrency, crypto society, represented by, for example, Decentraland, Sandbox, those companies. Their focus is how you develop the blockchain-driven systems using smart contract, digital assets, for example, like cryptocurrency, NFTs, create digital and decentralized identities, or even salon tokens to guarantee people's right in the future metaverse. In fact, A16Z, one of the most leading and famous investment companies in crypto society, they wrote an article after Facebook changed their name to Meta. In this article, they describe the 7 essential ingredients of a metaverse. And as you can see from the screen, decentralization, property rights, self-sovereign identities, composabilities, openness, open source, community ownership, and social immersion. None of these are actually connected to VR, human-computer interaction techniques. In particular, in the 7, social immersion, A16Z says that a metaverse does not have to exist in VR or AR. One of the reasons is, well, the state of the VR and AR hardware itself is not mature. And for those big companies, those big corporations, they want to be the most important supporting point, entrance point for metaverse. They see themselves as a way to becoming a dominant computing interface suppliers for 3D virtual worlds. And that it is something against the principle of the Web3 community. Because in Web3 community, we believe that social immersion is way more important. We want to build up a metaverse that lower the barrier so that everyone can join. We hope more and more people can use the platform rather than providing a high-end, fantastic system, but only a limited people can join the network. So that it is the view from Web3 community. From my perspective, well, these three communities actually should work together to build the future of metaverse. The foundation could be provided by Web3 community. We use blockchain to create persistent, tradable digital assets. Of course, these should be guaranteed by transparent and immutable rules powered by smart contracts. With these two conditions, people on top of the platform, the Web3 metaverse platform, they know they have the right to own the property. They are able to control their personal identity and also their digital assets. So it will better incentivize them to create more user-generated contents. With more and more generated content created in this world, we will be able to build up better immersive interactive experience, and that is the ultimate goal of immersive internet community. So in fact, this is a bottom to top approach or top to bottom approach, but eventually we are building a whole metaverse. So in Web3 community, we already have a lot of metaverse projects. In summary, I classify them into two types. The first type is the land projects, represented by Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, Sandbox, or World Wide Web. These land projects selling crypto NFT-based lands to users so that the users can use their land to create contents. And the second type of projects is profile pictures. Sometimes we call it PIP projects. So what is a profile picture NFT in this sense? In fact, this is a community. An NFT PIP project will create a collection of profile pictures so that the collectors, they belong to the DAO, which is created or generated by the NFT collection. As a member, you will have the right, you will have the governance to the particular DAO. In fact, the profile picture NFT there represents the Web3 community's thought on metaverse. That is, we already live in a metaverse powered by blockchain. And now it is the time for us to build out the decentralized society. And the profile pictures will be the identity created by those decentralized society. So that it is the reason a lot of people are buying those profile pictures powered by NFT. So that will be the idea of metaverse. Now let's talk about how you're gonna realize or implement the metaverse. Well, personally, I believe to create the metaverse or towards the metaverse, we do have a spectrum. From the leftmost is the physical world, and to the rightmost is the pure digital world created by the metaverse. Nowadays, we're all talking about NFT arts or Web3 games. These are pure digital world that has no correlation with the physical world. However, there must be overlaps between the two worlds. So, if you move from right to left, how are you gonna use the pure digital world to make an influence on the physical world? It's possible, right? We can create a set of IP and branding stuff. We use those digital assets to make impact on the real world. Another direction, you can move from left to right. In fact, that it is the digital world for physical world. We are building the digital world because we want to create a better physical world. We want to use the digital assets, the digital techniques to support the physical and real world. The most famous represent projects will be the digital twin and decentralized identity. So let's start from pure digital world. That could be the most cutting edge research and practice in metaverse. Artwork, of course, will be the pioneers. In fact, artwork are pioneers everywhere. They're using the most pioneering ideas to create a lot of new thoughts and new discussions over the future of human's life. For example, everyone knows about the Beatles' very famous artwork, the first 5,000 days. It was sold for $69 million US. In fact, a lot of people knows about NFT because of this project. However, NFT artwork is not only a new selling channels for traditional digital artwork. Nowadays, we're creating a lot of new NFT artwork that features the Web3 characteristics. For example, nowadays we're creating a lot of a lot of NFTs on art blocks. Okay, so it is something like a hybrid between human and AI. We can use the computer to generate lots of contents as an artwork. Recently, we also work on a lot of collaborative artwork in NFT community because we believe in Web3 community, we encourage people to collaborate. We encourage people to participate rather than just consuming the contents. So in my opinion, in the next stage, collaborative NFTs will be the mainstream in NFT artwork. We already see lots of work, for example, like pack NFT collectibles, but there will be more in next wave. In addition to the NFT artwork, a lot of people believe Web3 games, it is one of the most important direction in metaverse, because technically everything exists in the digital world itself could be considered as a game. And of course, the gaming industry is relatively mature in digital world. Nowadays, we have a lot of play-to-earn GameFi projects. For example, the most famous one will be AC Infinity or Step In. In those games, you are able to collect NFTs or use the NFTs to create lots of cryptocurrency tokens. People can sell those crypto tokens to fiat money so that you can spend those money in your real life. Technically, you can play game for a living. So that is the core idea of play to earn. In addition to those play to earn techniques, in fact, there are more and more people investigating the future of blockchain empowered Web3 games. For example, one of the most famous one is Dark Forest. In this project, they don't have any cryptocurrency, they don't have NFTs. What's more important is that they use zero knowledge proof techniques to support a new genre of gaming experience. And I believe in the next stage, more and more games will be developed from the philosophy of blockchain. So that will be the pioneers in Web3 games. Personally, I have been doing Web3 game research for a long time. Starting from 2018, we have been publishing a series of research papers studying the future of Web3 games. We believe the most cutting-edge research in metaverse will still relying on NFT artwork and Web3 games. With the NFT and gaming experience provided in the virtual world, more and more people started to realize the IP and brands created in the pure digital world can make an impact in the real world. For example, one of the most famous profile picture projects, CryptoPunks, they decide to collaborate with Tiffany, a very famous luxury brand, to create a jewelry. So as you can see, this is something called NFT tips. Okay, this is something sold this summer, and each piece you will need to spend 30 Ethereum or about $50,000 to buy it. Another very famous ecosystem is around the Yoga Labs, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They do have an ecosystem that's surrounded with fashion brands, music, food, beverage, and physical worlds. Even in China, because of the policy problems, we don't have many NFT and cryptocurrency projects operating in China. But still, they have collaborations with Chinese brands. For example, 中国李宁, okay, one of the most famous sports brands in China, they have collaborations with the ape, and they have, beverage sell in China as well. They build lots of communities, including educations, podcast, studio, guild, and everything, so that eventually they will be the channel that's making the impact on the real world. Of course, from the government perspective or from computer people, well, we are computer people, okay, engineering people, probably we are more interested in the future that the metaverse can help the real world. How are we going to build the digital or IT infrastructures to support the real life? So let's talk about the digital for physical. The digital twin, it is something strongly correlated to metaverse and the real world. This is a replica of our real life in digital space. We can build up digital twin cities, digital twin town, digitally industrial parks and everything, and we can leverage the digital space to optimize the data flow, including the power, the traffic, and everything in real life. In this direction, we build out a digital campus for my university. Last summer, we published a paper called Metaverse for Social Good, a university campus prototype. In this paper, we describe the digital twin we created for the campus, and of course, because we are rooting from the Web3 community, we have created a lot of interesting mechanisms in this game, or we said in this metaverse. For example, students, they have a location-based chatting channels. They will receive tokens in different rates, okay, with different locations. They're able to collect a lot of NFTs, and they can even use the system to create their content by themselves as well. We create lots of AI-empowered editors to support them. And of course, the whole ecosystem, everything is powered by blockchain. This paper was a very famous or popular paper this year, though it has only been published for 1 year. It has been downloaded for more than 7,000 times in ACM Digital Library, and it becomes the top 5 popular papers in ACM MM conference series. The conference has been lasting for 30 years, and is now, this paper published last year, only 1 year, is now ranked top 5 popular papers in terms of downloading numbers. Another direction, of course, will be creating people, okay, the digital twin for humans in the metaverse. One direction is creating meta-human, okay, using new techniques to create the digital format of people. But from Web3's perspective, what's more important is the decentralized identity. In fact, Korean government, they are doing a very big approach for a Korean citizen. Koreans will be able to access to blockchain-powered digital identities by 2024. And in this approach, even the government won't be able to see how or when the ID is being used. This is pure decentralized. Of course, probably it is still too early to talk about the future of metaverse. We don't know yet. I would like to quote the former president of CUHK, Professor Cao. He is the inventor of fiber optics communication. He believes his approach is the best, and he can now think of a better system in future 1,000 years. But at the same time, he talked to us that Don't believe what I say, because I didn't believe what the expert said either. So in metaverse, to be honest, there's no experts. We are all starting from nothing. This is a new world, and it's time for us to build. And we hope that people all over the world can collaborate together towards the future of metaverse. We hope that in metaverse we can build a lot of interesting new future things. Thank you very much. This is my talk.
Thank you, Dr. Wei. It was full of information and introduction about what the Web3 is and the metaverse is. So actually, as you know, we are in the live streaming. So again, we would like to, involve as much as we can from the attendees into this session itself. So we will be picking some of the questions, which is written into the different verticals of the live streamings. So please allow me to start with the questions.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Wei. So first question we got is, as an overview, what is the difference between the metaverse and the Web3?
Okay, actually, metaverse and Web3 itself, they are actually in different layers. In my opinion, Web3 is the foundation of metaverse. Web3 creates a transparent, auditable, and democratic infrastructure to support the metaverse. And with Web3, the metaverse users can secure their own digital access and identity. So that will make the ecosystem of the metaverse completely different from existing MMOG or other virtual systems without the support of Web3.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Wei, for that. That is super clear for this. So we will have another question. So we will pick one more question from the attendees. Yeah. So we will pick this question. So the question is, what is the difference between the fungible and non-fungible tokens?
Okay, fungible token means each token in the same collection itself is exactly the same as another. For example, in Bitcoin, right, one Bitcoin equals to another Bitcoin. There's no difference. In other words, the tokens are essentially interchangeable. And non-fungible token means each token is unique. You cannot find two identical tokens in the same collection, either in types or value. For example, for most of the NFT artwork or NFT PFP projects, each profile picture, they're different from each other. Of course, they probably are partially fungible, means that you can see that, okay, they belongs to the same collection. They are partially similar to each other, but they are not completely identical to each other. You are able to differentiate any of these two. Yeah, that will be the definition.
I see. Thank you so much, Dr. Wei. So actually, that was impressive. Thank you, and I appreciate having you with us today. So thank you so much. And again,
thank you.
So thank you. And we will head for our next session, which will be conducted by the head of product of BUIDL. So Mr. Amandeep. So he will introduce to us the state of DAOs. So Mr. Aman, are you with us?
Hey, Bid, I'm here.
Hi. So it's all yours now. So you can start. The stage is yours. Thank you, bro.
Okay, thanks a lot. Hey, everyone. Thanks for the intro, Bader. And feels great to be here. Like the host introduced, we'll be talking about DAOs. So let me share my screen. Yeah. So is this visible?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
okay,
it's
awesome.
fully visible. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, so when I sat down to make this presentation, I was a bit hard pressed on how to begin something like this. In the spirit of Web3 and in the spirit of the silly people that we are, I really wanted to get it going with a meme. But unfortunately, I could not find an apt meme for this. So I thought a little bit harder. And, when I started DAOs, this must have been 2 years back. I was listening to this DevCon talk by a person called as Amin Soleimani. You might know him as one of the co-founders or summoners of Moloch. And he said something then which has struck with me ever since. So I thought maybe I'll begin with that. And what he said is this. Let me read it out loud. Actually, all of us versus our own inability to coordinate. The game is not how we get my team to beat your team, but how we get more teams working. And the way we do this, the way we get more teams working together is to build tools and protocols that can help humans coordinate. And the greatest thing about Web3 and Ethereum and blockchains in general, and DAOs in particular, is that now we can build tools and protocols that can advance human coordination at a faster and cheaper rate than ever before. Why do I think it is faster and cheaper than ever before? Well, we'll come to that a little later. So to continue on this, I'm not here to tell you that my team, which in this case is obviously Team DAOs, is 100 times better than every other organizational structure that we have. But what I want to do here today is to present you with some data which would define DAOs, which would show you the current state of the DAO ecosystem, and also compare DAOs to something like an LLC or a startup to see how DAOs compare. Some of these comparisons you might find very believable. For example, towards the end, I'm going to tell you that DAOs are the next and a better iteration of social networks. You might be okay with that. But a little later, I'll also tell you that a DAO may be the next and better iteration of a country. You might draw the line there, but I'll try my best to defend those statements and tell you why I think those statements make sense. So welcome to this presentation. But before I do all that, let me give you a short intro about myself as well as who I'm representing. So I'm Aman. I'm originally from India, currently based in Dubai. I work with early stage Web3 companies, primarily tooling to define their strategies of growth, product, go-to-market, etc. And I've been working with DeepDAO for the past 1 year. Perhaps this is a good time to tell you that DeepDAO is not a DAO, but what they are is a discovery engine and a social network for the DAO ecosystem. Let me actually show you what it looks like so that you have a bit of context very quickly. So this is what the DeepDAO homepage looks like. If you go to DeepDAO, you'll be able to find information on primarily 3 things. 1 on DAOs, 2 the people in DAOs, and 3 about the layer of tooling which makes all of this possible. So all of this that you see are DAOs, and at the moment we list over 10,000 DAOs across different frameworks and mainnets. And on each DAO, you can find a profile which tells you about what's in the DAO's treasury, how has it been performing, what does the governance of the DAO look like, etc. There's a lot of data. You can also toggle this from organizations to people and search for your Ethereum wallet address, and it will show you your profile. This is a person I do not know, and his name is Ori, and the profile tells us that Uri is a member of 6 organizations and has made 53 proposals and 300 votes starting from early 2020 to now. And below you have all these proposals and votes. So it's like a LinkedIn focused on DAO activity. So you can even come to DeepDAO and follow organizations as well as people to get updates and see what is happening. Sort of like a social network for DAOs. We think this is a good time to build a social network for DAOs right now, especially given that Elon is destroying Twitter. So there is all this on DeepDAO. Plus we have an API as well, which puts out all this data in the form of 30 different endpoints. So if you need DAO data, you know where to come to. With the introduction out of the way, I'll now proceed with my presentation. So before we talk about very complicated things, let us first define DAO is. I'm sure most of you must already be knowing that a DAO stands for a decentralized autonomous organization. most of you would also probably be familiar with what exactly it is and how it works. But just for the sake of completion, let me define what a DAO is on a very high level. So for this, consider any established organization of people. You'll find that irrespective of the size or scale or characteristics of this organization, there is always two things in common between every organization. One, there is always a common goal as to why that organization exists. And secondly, there is a decision-making mechanism or a consensus mechanism on how decisions are made within the organization. For example, if you consider something like a startup as an organization of people, the common goal there is to build a product, raise funds, go to the market, and the decision-making mechanism there is that the founders or the CEO has the veto, right? If you consider something like Alibaba, who are one of our sponsors for the event, the chain of command there is broader. It has a board, a CEO, VPs, managers, etc. You could even think of countries as organizations of people, which they of course are. And if you consider something like the UAE and compare it with the India or the USA, again, the consensus mechanism is different in each case. The reason I started with this is because I want to keep the definition of a DAO general and to tell you that a DAO is also similar to this. A DAO is also a group of people working together with a common goal, managing assets together. The core difference is that in a DAO, there would not be a CEO or a board or, generally speaking, a point or points of ultimate power. The organization would be decentralized. And the method of consensus here is that decision-making is done through voting. Let me actually show you how it works. There are multiple softwares that DAOs can use to take decisions. This is one of them that most of you might be with. It's called Snapshot. You can log into it by connecting your wallet and say Gitcoin is a DAO. If you go to the Gitcoin, you see that there are almost 67,000 members on Gitcoin. And yeah, there is actually an active proposal here right now. And it is discussing something about the Gitcoin treasury. And it says that, we should maybe transfer 500,000 from the Gitcoin treasury to something. And if you are a member of this DAO, you can vote on this and say that, yes, this looks like a good idea. Let's do this. Or you can say, okay, maybe this is not a great idea, so we should not do this. So like this, there are different softwares that DAOs can use to conduct voting and take decisions. It is like a democracy, but instead of voting once every 5 years to elect the people who takes decisions for you, you can in theory vote for every single little thing. For example, if Aman is a member of Good DAO, then Good DAO could vote if Aman should be attending this hackathon representing them, or if Aman's salary should be increased, or who to invite to the next Twitter space or anything like that. And the other things which I have not described, things like what is the minimal DAO size? Is a 4-member organization a DAO? Is there an optimal size for a DAO? Or if a DAO should have binding decisions, or could it even work with polls? I have not touched on those things because hello? Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me continue. So I've not touched on those things because you could say yes or no to all those questions and we'd still call you a DAO. So let's keep the definition rather broad at the moment. So you could ask me naturally at this point that, Aman, this looks like a very complicated structure and it looks like a lot of work to be voting on every single proposal. So is the DAO framework even famous? Do people even use it? And the answer to that question is yes, people do use it. The DAO framework is quite famous. For example, at the moment, as I'm speaking, there are 4.7 million wallets or people who are potential voters of all the different DAOs. DeepDAO alone lists around 10,000 DAOs. And all these DAOs and people together manage around $9 billion in assets. Note that this is the amount that is directly under the control of the DAO. For example, a DAO could be a DeFi DAO and controls. So this is the current state of the DAO ecosystem in terms of a few metrics. If you go to DeepDAO, you get to see much more of these numbers. And I remember that at the start of 2021, the number of DAO members that we had on DeepDAO was around 15,000. The number of DAOs that we listed was around 100 or 150. And the total AUM was around 300 million. So if you look at it in the last 18 months, there has been orders of magnitude of growth in almost all verticals. And I think that's a good thing. The next question naturally would be, so where is all this activity coming from? Is it just fully DeFi and NFTs? And no, it's not fully DeFi and NFTs. Like we just define DAOs to be something generic that can be applied to every use case in theory. There are multiple different use cases for DAOs. For example, there are DAOs that act as VCs. There are obviously DeFi DAOs and NFT DAOs. There are DAOs that act as companies. For example, you can hire these DAOs to build your code base or act as consultants for you. There are even activist DAOs that might not be very famous. For example, there was this DAO called Assange DAO, which was started to help Julian Assange. There was another DAO which crowdfunded a few $1 million to help Edward Snowden. So there are even all these activist DAOs. I'll give you a few examples of a DAOs that I personally like, just to complete the narrative here. BUIDL is one of the DAOs that I find very interesting. They are a DeSci or a decentralized science DAO working on longevity. So essentially, it is a group of scientists and academics and researchers who are focused on the longevity space. If you are a researcher whose mission aligns with the mission of the DAO, BUIDL could fund your research, and in exchange, whatever IP or patents come out of your research would be collectively owned by the DAO. Hence, decentralizing science and property rights. Coincidentally, DeSci DAOs is gaining a lot of traction. We did a feature on them, a research on them last month, and we found almost 50 DAOs working on the areas of longevity, climate change, sustainability, etc. So it is a significant enough population. Another DAO that I find very interesting is Coconut Network. And as the name suggests, they have to do something with coconuts. To be more specific, this is a group of farmers who are based in the Dominican Republic trying to apply the DAO structure to manage and fund coconut farms in Dominican Republic. And Gitcoin is another much more famous example that does quadratic funding and grants to projects in the Web3 ecosystem. This is just 3 out of the 10,000 that I personally like. You could go to DeepDAO and find more DAOs that are interesting to you. So let us look at DAO's governance very briefly. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but just to see how the DAO governance looks like at the moment. At the start of this presentation, we looked at Snapshot and Gitcoin as one of the tools that DAOs use. There are multiple other tools. I haven't listed all of them, but just a couple of them here of defining the different tools. The main difference between something like Snapshot and the others like Aragon, DAO House, Compound is that Snapshot, as you know, is an off-chain signaling platform, whereas the others towards the end are on-chain structures. The difference between an on-chain structure and an off-chain structure is that the decisions making in an on-chain structure is normally binding. For example, we saw the proposal on Snapshot about Gitcoin DAO spending $500,000 from its treasury for some initiative, right? It looks like that proposal is going to get passed in Snapshot. But even though it gets passed, what it effectively tells you is that the community of Gitcoin DAO thinks that this is a good idea. It would still be up to the signers of the Gitcoin DAO to disperse that amount from the Gitcoin DAO treasury to fund the initiative. But if the same proposal were to happen in, say, a DAO that is using Compound governance, which is an on-chain structure for governance, and suppose the proposal gets passed, then the smart contract would see to it that the code automatically executes the transfer of 500,000 from the DAO treasury to the address given in the proposal. So this is basically where the autonomous part of the decentralized autonomous organization comes from. But ironically, a large chunk of DAOs, or at least more than 80% of the DAOs that we list and see today, are not autonomous. They use signaling via Snapshot and other tools to find decisions, and then it is up to the signers to carry out the decisions. There are arguments on whether this is a good trend or a bad trend, or why DAOs are aligned in this direction. But I think we'll talk about that perhaps in another time. So a question that you might have when I define all this is that it looks like the DAO governance is very siloed. It looks like there are 20 different platforms, each with its own technical without going to all these platforms. And the answer to that again is yes. For example, you can go to DeepDAO and we have this section called as the DAO feed. And it would show you the DAO activity and review, as well as an infinite scrollable feed of DAO activity. So all these are different proposals and discussions happening in different DAOs. You can click on any one of them. It would lead you to the DAO's page and you can directly take part in the DAO governance there. Suppose you didn't want to directly get involved with governance in this way, there is still another way to get involved with soft governance or soft signaling. DeepDAO has this feature called Brainstorm. For example, take ENS DAO and you have this tab called Organization Data, which tells you all about ENS. You have another tab called Brainstorm, which effectively is for people to brainstorm on things. So if you are a member of ENS DAO, which is to say that you hold the ENS DAO tokens, you can come to this tab and start a brainstorm, and all other ENS token holders can support it, go against it, and tell you why they think it's a good or a bad idea. So this is not direct governance, but you'd still get an idea of consensus and what the community thinks of your idea through this method, right? So that's all I want to talk about DAO governance at this point. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you two statements, and then I'll try my best to defend those statements and give you my thought process on why I think there is something to those. The statement is that DAOs are the next and a better iteration of social network. This looks like, it looks believable. And the last statement that I want to tell you is that DAOs may be the next and better iteration of a country. So let's start with this one first. Why do I think that DAOs are the next or a better iteration of a social network? So what is a social network or an online community? It is effectively an online platform where people from different parts compare DAOs to the existing Web2 socials like Facebook or Reddit and ask the question that, do DAOs compare with something like this? Are they similar in number? And the answer to that is no. DAOs are much, much smaller than, say, Facebook or Reddit. Facebook, for example, they have around 3 billion monthly active users, whereas the total number of potential voters in DAOs is less than 5 million. Reddit, for example, has almost 150,000 active subreddits, but the total number of DAOs is even around 10,000. So active DAOs would be a few thousands. So in terms of sheer number of users and sheer number of communities, DAOs are much, much smaller than existing social networks and online communities. But my point is that there is a differentiating factor here, which is this third number, which says that DAOs directly manage almost $9 billion in treasury. Why do I think this is a huge differentiator and this is a very big factor? I'll try to make a case for it. For example, 10 minutes back, we talked about BUIDL and how BUIDL is trying to decentralize science and scientific research. We could have a very similar subreddit which wants to do decentralized scientific research. There are, in fact, many of these, most of them are very highly aligned communities discussing on like their own common core. But the fact of the matter is that if you look at any of these online communities, you would not see a large-scale collaboration or collective action coming from these subreddits or these online communities by them just being online communities. And the reason for that is, if you need to take large-scale actions or to do large-scale collaborative work, then obviously you need to employ people. You need to have part-time and full-time collaborators. You need to manage assets to fund your operations and storage, and all of those things. And online communities so far has not had a structure in which they can remain online communities and still manage assets and get all of this done. For example, if a subreddit wants to manage assets, they would have to become a non-profit or a cooperative, register it, try to figure out how to use a bank account, elect a few leaders, doing all this while still incorporating what the community thinks into the structure, right? Whereas after DAOs were formed, you could consider an example of something like a Gnosis DAO or a BUIDL. These are also online communities. Most of them have thousands of members. Some even have hundreds of thousands of members. And the members are pseudonymous or anons. Most of the people have not met in real life. Yet all these members trustlessly are able to manage billions of dollars in assets. And they are able to do so largely while still remaining an online community. This is why I think that DAOs are the next and better iteration of a social network or an online community, because by being a DAO or by using a DAO structure, an online community effectively gets superpowers that it can manage assets and now that it can fund large-scale coordination activities. So the second argument, why DAOs may be the next better iteration. So I want to be very careful here and not to take a political side of things here, because that's not what I'm interested in. Let's start with the why of why would you even want to iterate on something like a country? And without being too political, the reason for that is that you could consider the current state of things, the way in which regulations or science or data or your presence is controlled and regulated. And you might find areas where it would be better to have a different solution than an existing one. Right? There are multiple cases without naming names like that where we wish that we had a better solution. So there are two ways in which you can go about getting a better solution. You could either try to reform the current system, or you could start an entirely new different system. We've been trying to reform the current system for a lot of time. We have succeeded multiple times. We have failed in equally number of times. Or you could do something like Satoshi did. Satoshi, instead of trying to reform the Fed or the fiat system, he invented a whole new currency system called Bitcoin, which inverted and changed many of the fundamental primitives that we had in fiat, right? So by incorporating DAO principles to iterate on something like countries, I believe that you'll change a lot of fundamental primitives and it would give you a lot more experimental freedom. So now, what is the feasibility of something like this? Is it even possible to start a new country? All these ideas that I'm talking, most of them comes from Crypto Twitter and the recent book by Balaji, which is titled The Network State and How to Start a New Country. And he says that most countries are small by number or area, and states are already ready to cut deals with anybody having a large enough capital in terms of finance and a human pool. So if you consider a country like Kuwait or Israel or Albania or Belgium, which have population less than 10 million, even in the current state of the DAO ecosystem, it does not look impossible to start a very highly aligned online community, which has, I don't know, a couple of million users, and that can amass a sizable treasury so as to be significant. He defines this as a network state, and he says that a network state is basically a very highly aligned online community that is capable of collective action, that can crowdfund territory and possibly in the future gain some diplomatic recognition. So DAOs, when online communities became DAOs, they now have the superpower to manage an asset. So now I'd say that they are much more capable of doing collective action. And in the future, when the community becomes large, you could become a large enough DAO that would be able to crowdfund territory and gain some diplomatic recognition. And I'd even be bold to say that there have been signs that this is possible. For example, CityDAO has bought a large parcel of land in Colorado, tried to tokenize it and govern it using a DAO framework, in the hopes of trying to build a city. Coconut DAO, which we tried to talk about earlier, has successfully applied the DAO framework to manage coconut farms in a large area of the Dominican Republic. And there are even states which DAOs are recognized as LLCs and frameworks to give legal weights for smart contracts. So in my opinion, this is the most bullish scenario for DAOs. Instead of them just being the next iteration of running a company or a startup, it is possible that DAOs could become a next iteration of a network state. So that kind of brings me to the end of my presentation. To recap, we touched upon what a DAO is, how a DAO is defined, the current state of DAO ecosystem, how DAO governance is conducted in the present scenario, and even things like how a DAO is a better social network in terms of capabilities, and how it could be, at least in theory, a better iteration of a country. If I were to leave you with something, it would be to tell you that there's tons of information available on DeepDAO about all of this in terms of pure number or even qualitative data. So do visit our website to get more data on all of this. And you can even reach out to me on Twitter. I go by Aman with Wings to discuss. That brings me to the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Aman. That was impressive, and we have enjoyed your presentation. That's great information and very competitive, like for the information itself. But now we came for the part of the questions. So we will go for our live streaming verticals, and we will see a couple of different questions. So the first question we got is about DAO. How does a DAO make money? So which makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like as we discussed, DAOs have different use cases. It's like asking how does a company make money, right? So there are DAOs which act as consultancy services or which you can hire. So they would be making money if you hire them to build your code base or act as your consultants. There are DAOs which control and manage DeFi protocols. So whatever revenue the DeFi protocol makes, a cut of that would go to the DAO. There are DAOs which sell NFT collections, so the royalties would go to the DAO. So it depends on the use case, but it is very similar to how a company makes money. This, in a similar way, a DAO can also make money.
Okay, thank you so much. That well known. That let's say go for the second question. So the second question is, how is a DAO different from the normal LLC?
Yeah. It's the fundamental difference that in an LLC, there is a centralized entity which has the veto on decisions. For example, it would generally be the founder or the CEO or a board. Whereas in a DAO, since it is a decentralized organization, not a single point or points have this power. Yeah, so that is the basic difference.
Amazing. Thank you. So we will go and pick our last question. So for the last question, we will pick this one. So the question saying is like, how do you name a DAO?
It's up to you. How do you see? The thing is that DAOs normally, there are two ways DAOs start. Like generally, there is always a core team that comes up with the idea of a DAO. So it would be up to them on what to name it. But I guess even after you name a DAO and it gets running, you could have a proposal which is about renaming the DAO. So if enough members vote on it and if the social smart contract allows it, you could rename it. So yeah.
Okay. That's great. So that was our last question, Aman. Thank you so much, Aman, for being with us today, and really was an impressive and full of information, informative session. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you for hosting me, and thanks a lot for the sponsors for conducting an event like this, and best of luck to all the participants on the hackathon. Have a nice day.
Thank you. So we have reached today for our last journey. So we will go with our last, it's not the last, is like one of the last sessions, which is about talking about how to create a Web3 world, which is very important to know about it. So we have with us the co-founder and the technology director of EDNS, Mr. Mike Nang. So please, Mr. Mike, start with your session. Thank you.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hello, guys. This is Mike. I'm the co-founder and technical director of EDNS, and I'm also a Web3 enthusiast, and also I'm a specialist of cloud. So today I'm going to talk about how to create a Web 3.0 world. So let's get started. Let me have short introduction of my project, EDNS. So what EDNS is a decentralized domain name system, which different service like storage, identities, or web hosting. And the main purpose of EDNS is to connect to different service or product on the decentralized or Web 3.0 world, like the web, NFT marketplace, Musicify, Socialify, some other Dapps, etc. And EDNS, the entire EDNS ecosystem is built on different blockchain networks, especially the EVM compatible blockchain networks. And also, we are also integrating with different cloud technologies. For example, Alibaba Cloud, the providers of today's sharings. So, with EDNS, what we have done in the past year is, like, as I mentioned, the EDNS domain name service. We have also provide a service like a domain, which can the owner of the domain can send the SMS to the Web2 users. And also we have ready to launch our second product, D-Drive, which is Web3 storage. And we have the capability to do a static web hosting and also provide a service for web builder. And then in the next upcoming year, we will also setting up a storage wallet which which is a decentralized wallet with integrate with our product D-Drive. And also we will also provide and set up and provide a decentralized messenger protocol, which provide an email or instant message in a decentralized way in the Web3. And also at the end, we will also provide or create a mini airbox, which bringing the Web 3.0 into your house. So what exactly is EDNS? EDNS is a domain name service and which build on smart contract on different blockchain networks. And the main purpose of use of the domain name is used as an alias to connect any NFT wallets, content hash, or any entities or resources on any blockchain networks, or neither non-blockchain or a general internet, like your Twitter profile, your Instagram name, your personal website, etc. And the primary purpose of a domain name is to replace the 20 bytes length long of your account address to a human readable name. And most importantly, our domain names is compatible with ERC 721 and also ERC 7907. So 721 is pretty famous, the most adopted NFT standard. And the 4907 maybe most of the people maybe not heard of it. It's a NFT rental protocol or NFT rental standard, which allow the NFT owner to rent their NFT to other people to extend the usability of their NFT. And as you can see, we are providing different top level domain on the right, like .web3, .meta, .music, etc. And as you can see, we have also .outtext, .okx. And we are currently working with outtext and OKX to expanding our EDNS entire ecosystem. And also the top level domain customization is also available. As far as we go, since EDNS has launched like 6 months ago, and by now we already have 1.2 million domain have been registered, and as over 370 unique owners of EDNS. And there's about 250 members in our overall community. And all this number is just start like 6 months ago. And have a greater view, the EDNS domain is an omni-chain decentralized domain name service. Because EDNS not only stay on a single blockchain network, as you can see, we are running on tons of layer 1 blockchain networks. So we are not only doing multi-chain, we're also doing cross-chain and omni-chain by using the layer 0 and multi-chain. And each of them is a cross-chain protocol to allow the assets on the different blockchain network to cross or to bridge into different blockchain networks. So let's talk about our second product, D-Drive, a layer 2 decentralized object storage. So what exactly is D-Drive? D-Drive is single entry point for multiple decentralized storage. So before we getting started everything, let's talk about what is object storage. Object storage is especially for storing a very large stores of unstructured data, especially like your pictures, videos, different JSON files, YAML files, anything that's unstructured that can be stored into object storage. And each of the data that have been uploaded to the object storage come with metadata and a unique identifier. So what exactly the object storage used for? Especially big data analytics, like the big data where everyone heard of like about a few years ago, rich media storage and delivery. So what exactly it is? Like if you're hosting a WordPress website, so what about a static file? Your image, your video, your font, all of these static data or static file can be stored inside the object storage. And also the last one is to be backup and archiving. As a personal IT guys, we have tons of data like video or recording and notes we need to back up. So object storage will be the best backup solution for tons of archiving data. So for the decentralized storage, D-Drive is a layer 2, so there must be a layer 1, right? So layer 1 decentralized storage, according to my point of view, I split it into 3 categories. The first one with the blockchain based, like Falcon, Arweave. The data is directly stored on the blockchain. And the second one will be network based. The most famous one, IPFS and StorageJ. Then the third one will be a contract based. The data that you have uploaded to decentralized storage is not directly put in on the blockchain. Instead, the P2P network are using the smart contract on the blockchain as a trust to provide the trust between the node operator and the data uploader. And like, for example, Ethereum Swarm and the BitTorrent file system belongs to the contract-based decentralized storage. So the main characteristics of the layer 1 decentralized storage are storage. They're obvious, right? So the data that you have been uploaded to the decentralized storage or aka P2P network are chunked, maybe chunked or encrypted. And each of the data or file that you have uploaded that has a unique ID. For example, in IPFS, you may call it CID, the content identifier, or we have a single name called hash ID. And each of the data of file that have been uploaded to the decentralized storage are immutable and most importantly, transparent, which means once you upload it to the network, and if you leak the CID or hash ID, your data will be public and you have nothing to do with. And for the stability and availability, the performance of most of the decentralized storage are varies. It is because the performance and are influenced by the node operators. The node operators have permission to shut down their node or their servers anytime. So which means the file or the chunks that you have been put it on that node operators nodes will be lost. So let's talk about what D-Drive are trying to solve. The there are some multiple features of D Drive, the layer 2 decentralized storage are trying to do. The first one, access control layer. Your objects or your file or your data are on the decentralized, the layer 2 is either public or private, or either you can authorize some people or some wallet to access your file by using smart contract. And the second one would be the stability and availabilities. D Drive is not only integrating with different layer 1 decentralized storage. Instead, they are D Drive are grouping multiple the storage providers. And if you have any data loss in a single data providers, you can do a very simple data recovery between multiple providers, which means we can provide SLA. And also D Drive also have the capabilities to do a static web hosting because they are the P2P network are globally distributed, and which means it's literally just a native global CDN network. And most importantly, the data or the file that you have uploaded are immutable, which means nobody can hack, nobody can hijack your data. Also, we have provided functionality to let the Web2 user to much more easier to adopt, like a web builder, to drag and drop to build themselves for a website. Also, we are not only staying into Web3, because Web3, to be honest, in the current IT community, Web3 is just a small group. So we're gonna do more exploring or try to get the Web2 user to get more involved. So we have also done the Web2 integration. So what D Drive not only using the decentralized storage as a storage, we also adopting the traditional cloud object storage service as a storage providers. And also we can use the cloud-based CDN to accelerate the entire access to provide a much more better user experience. So as a summary, what D Drive is layer 2 decentralized object storage by integrating Web2 cloud technology to provide access control, a highly redundant, a single entry point, and with the functionality of static web hosting by integrating multiple decentralized storage and multiple cloud-based object storage. So what exactly D Drive want to solve? The first one, provide single interface to multiple storage providers, because there are tons of decentralized storage providers nowadays, but each of these storage have different interaction or method. So we provide very convenient ways, a single interface to interact multiple or all of these storage. The second one, we integrate with the cloud technology to provide a higher availability and usability. Because as you know, the IPFS always lost your files, and the other P2P network may also will lose your files. You cannot guarantee the uptime of this file, and the corporate will not adopt it. So we integrate with cloud. We should provide SLA and higher availabilities and usabilities. Also, we try to have a better data exchange between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 storage, because as I mentioned, Web 3 in the current IT community is very small group. So we're trying to get involved or expanding into Web 2 to get much more people attention and to let them insight to Web 3. So as you can see, we are partnering with different partner in the Web 3, like we have Polygon Studio, Polygon, and Altex. In a traditional Web 2 market, we also have Alibaba. And yeah, that was very obvious. So let's maybe get I've just finished introduce my product and what I'm doing. So let's get back to our main article today. So what exactly is Web3 and why are we using it and why are we not using it? And what is the pros and cons of Web3? So what exactly is Web3 is? This was not by me, it's by Ethereum. So that is core. Web3 use blockchains, cryptocurrency, and NFT to give power back to the user in form of ownership. So what exactly is the Web3 is giving back the data ownership. to user. Because in Web2, the data ownership is belong to different giant tech company like Amazon, Google. They have all of your data. So Web3 is trying to use the cryptography to giving back the data ownership to the end user. So yeah, everything have two ways. So what is the advantage of Web3? Yeah, the very first one will be the thing that I mentioned, the data ownership. Because in the Web3, the tech giants control and exploit the user-generated data. But in the blockchain-powered Web3, the end user will take full ownership of the data using. And the end user will be able to choose what information of the user trying to share with the business or the advertising company for making money from it. And Web3 will not be controlled by a single entity. As a result, decentralized application, what we call Dapps, will not be censored, nor will their access will be restricted because of the data are decentralized, right? So the second one will be a fewer intermediate. Because the blockchain-based Web3 will connect companies directly with customers, and there be very few and no central authority that will be received a share of earning from electronic transaction, and there's no need for adequate rules or regulations for monitoring the fairness. And we will see a shift towards trustless and decentralized networks instead of centralized institutions. There's also like transparencies. The decentralized web will enable users to track their data and look over the source code of any platform they decide to utilize, because Web3 is everything is open source, and through transparency are putting every data on the blockchain. And also all of the stakeholders will be always to be aware of the values and commerce they are associated with. And the end user will no longer need to rely to a middleman for accessing their data. And also the efficient searching and information linking will be a much huge booster in the Web3. Because in Web3, you'll be able to search for any more information more efficiently. And when you will search for something on a search engine like Google, it will show you the most relevant search result instead of showing you the most popular page that people click. And I think most of the people watching this has experience on Google search engine. And the semantic web will help in better connectivity of the online data. And it will help the end user by saving more time while searching for the information and being more productive. And also the final one, the uninterrupted service. Because in Web3, the data will be stored on a distributed node. Thus, the end user will not need to think about the suspension of a particular account or service disruption due to their technical or other reasons. So here are the advantage, but what about the disadvantage? So let's take a look at some disadvantage or limitation. The learning curve. Because before you enter the Web3, most of the people have to install a wallet, a MetaMask wallet, a Trust wallet. So after you have created a wallet, you have to remember the 12 or 24 mnemonic words. And most of people doesn't know what it is and doesn't know what its address, private key means. All of these things require a dedicated level of IT knowledge to know what it is to learn or to enter the Web3. So the entire learning curve would create a very huge barrier or for the Web2 user to enter the Web3. Also the transparency. Yeah, the transparency is an advantage, but also a disadvantage because all of your information are exposed in the P2P network or a blockchain. All of your data are open. So with me, if you have put some that's your personal data onto the blockchain and there's not encrypted, and your the data that is immutable and exists on the blockchain forever. And also for regulation, because the entire Web3 development are currently based on blockchain, and the blockchain is decentralized, and no single entity or organization can manage it entirely. So which means creating a proper regulation for the Web3 is difficult there, because even we want to have a regulation or governance, we don't even know who or finding, or is there any path to communicate or govern the entire blockchain or decentralized application. And also for the existing application migration is also one of the huge trouble for the current companies, because the design from the infrastructure are completely different from the Web2. If they want to get involved into Web3, they require many different development tools and a completely different concept. So which means it's also bringing an entire different learning curve for the developers or the corporate to rethought their concept about the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. So like into a different aspect, the development experience. So to start develop a project onto Web 3, you have 3 options. The first one, smart contract on public blockchain. This is the most famous one or the most easiest one, and there's most people will do. They deploy smart contract on different public blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, Aptos. This is the most secure and most easiest way, because the public blockchain are already secure by its own consensus mechanism or model. And also they are also the most largest developer society or community on the internet. So you are very easier to learn or troubleshoot from the internet. And the second one will be smart contract on the consortium blockchain. So what is consortium blockchain? Very first is a blockchain network that are managed or run by a group of people instead of the public. So in this way, the consortium blockchain are sacrificing this decentralization, but to provide a higher speed, throughput, and privacy. There's many options, such as you can run the Quorum, manage the blockchain that is on Alibaba Cloud, that is a managed service. Just you click and pay some money, not some. Then you can have your own private blockchain. But why are we doing development on the consortium blockchain? It's because if you develop on the public blockchain, you have costs, and you're very hard to manage the blockchain. You have to, if you want to do some upgrade or revamp, you literally can't. But if you have your own consortium blockchain or private blockchain, the entire development and the privacy is much easier control into a group of people. And the first one will be application specific blockchain. So what it is, the application specific blockchain doesn't exactly is a smart contract. Instead, because a smart contract no longer fulfill the need of your project or your ideas, you will have to modify the entire blockchain to fulfill your need. For example, if you want to run a decentralized compute, then obviously smart contract is not completely not your option. Then you have to customize the entire blockchain. But luckily, there's a lot of framework nowadays is available for you to customize, to create your own public or either private or consortium blockchain. For example, Cosmos SDK. So if you want to start development, the smart contract programming language will be the first one. Will be first, will be Solidity, because Solidity you can run program a smart contract on any EVM compatible blockchains such as Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, etc. Because Solidity have a very wide of community support. So the Solidity is very, you have any experience in development in JavaScript or C++, then you must be very similar or familiar with the Solidity. And the second one will be Rust. Rust can be deployed to smart contract to Solana, Near, Polkadot, and Aeron, etc. And the third will be Move. And Move is a very new programming language, smart contract programming language. Like it's just been launched like 1.5 year, like 1.5 years ago. Because Move is a programming language that is developed by Facebook. The time they still have changed their name to Meta. So the Move programming language are mainly run on laptops, Sui and Linear. So what is special of Move? Because Move is the entire design of the laptops. Because Move is a programming language, and Move Sui and Linear is a blockchain, a public blockchain, and their aim to provide high throughput and high security to the market. So because Move or Aptos have the name of Facebook, they're now a very famous project on the current market. So if you want to start creating the Web3 world, you have to start your own project. To start your own project, then you have to start to programming. You know, either like I just mentioned, you can either start doing smart contract on the public chain or either consortium blockchain, or you can build your own application specific blockchain. So in the Web3 future or Web3 world, we will not only have Web3, we will also have cloud, like Alibaba Cloud. And because cloud is already taken over the IT industry like over 10 years. So why are we bringing the cloud technology with Web 3.0? And wasn't it the opposite of Web 3? So let's talk about the outstanding features of cloud. Serverless. Build your own application and without thinking in servers. Event-driven. You can decouple your system that run in the response to event and also on demand. Pay as you go. And if you have a little bit understanding or you have experience of using cloud, you may find out these 3 points that I mentioned is a little bit familiar in blockchain, like your smart contract. The smart contract, the price or the gas fee are pay as you go. How many code you have execute, how many data that you have input and output, depends which become the gas fee. Event driven, the different event trigger based on the smart contract or the blockchain event. Like you have an input and trigger a contract, and the smart contract which has to trigger other smart contract, which will become an event chain. Also serverless. The blockchain itself, if you're using the blockchain, it doesn't cost you any money. Instead, if you use it, if you execute the smart contract or writing a transaction into the blockchain, is only billing you the price. And also the infrastructure, you doesn't even need to care about the blockchain throughput. You just need to use it. So let's have a quick comparison. The cloud, ultimately centralized service by giant authority like Amazon, Google, of course, Alibaba, and also all of the digital assets or digital data are owned by a single authority. But luckily, because they are controlled by a single authority, they can provide very high availabilities, reliabilities, and stabilities. They can provide SLA because they're only single one authority. Well, which means all of the cloud providers own all of the data. Also, but the opposite, Web3, the service all of the Web3 servers are provided by the node operator, because once you run a server and set up their software, then you can participate into the P2P network. But the performance are vary because, as I mentioned, each of the node operators are running different hardware requirements. Some of them may be running a Raspberry Pi, and some of them may be running a C7 ECS machine on Alibaba Cloud. The performance are completely different, but they're still part of the network. And also, more importantly, the things or the data on the Web3 is immutable and also completely transparent. But not exactly completely transparent, but because you can secure your data or encrypt your data by using your private key. But also in Web3, there's a lot of different ecosystems like Ethereum, Cosmos, Solana, Aptos, etc. But the Web3 doesn't have the SLA provided like Solana. They're literally have 8 to 9 times of service degrade, or the entire blockchain has been shut down in the past years. And as a result, is Web3 are giving back the data ownership back to the users. And as you can see, the cloud and Web3 is a completely different side. Cloud go with a completely centralized, and Web3 go with a completely decentralized. Cloud go with all of the data ownership belongs to one single authority, and the Web3 is giving back the data ownership to each of their data owner. So what we're trying to do in the future world is we must and we need to combine the Web 2.0 with the Web 3.0. By combining these two, so-called technology, we can provide high usability a decentralized service by wrapping the Web 3.0 environment through the cloud technology to the end user. Because there's a lot of example nowadays. For example, Uniswap. Uniswap, their front-end website is run on the cloud providers. For example, a few days ago, their cloud providers has experienced the service degrade, and the Uniswap front-end website cannot be accessed from the browser. But instead, you can access their front-end application through IPFS. And most importantly, their backend, the smart contract, are never going down because they're run on different blockchain networks. And also, for example, if you have already doing different Web3 projects and you need to interact with the blockchain, you have two options. You can actually 3 options. You can either run your own blockchain node and participate in the blockchain directly, but it will take a lot of times and money, cost. So not much of people are doing this. The second one will be using the public gRPC URL. And I think that most people are using it because it's free and very easy to use. And the third one will be using the blockchain node gRPC URL from different the blockchain node providers. They're dedicated providing the blockchain node RPC URL for billing, for pricing, for different rate limit. So for using the public node or using the RPC URL from a dedicated node providers, you guess where their blockchain node putting on? Cloud. So at the end, you're still going into the Web3 through Web 2. So there's no way to avoid you're using Web 2 technology or cloud technology to enter the Web3. Maybe in the future, we can completely or into the Web3, like each of our IT device, like the Apple, my smartwatch, my smartphone are also part of the P2P network. But I think there will be a long time development to become the future that I mentioned. But until then, we still have to combine the cloud technology, which is the Web 2 with the Web 3. So the last word, the last statement is the Web 3 will not take over the future, but instead it must and it will take part in the future. And thank you. This is the end of my sharing. And if you're any question or inquiry, please feel free to email me.
Thank you so much, Mike. That was a great information and full of informative slides. So now we're gonna go for picking some of the questions which has been asked over our social media and as well the live streaming verticals. So we will pick the first question. So the first question, we pick this one. So the question says, create Web3. What does Web3 means for developers?
I think it will be a completely different experience because if you, for example, currently, as I mentioned now, I'm also a cloud specialist. I have over 3 to 4 years experience in cloud. In a traditional cloud development experience is you're gonna enter their ecosystem. For example, if you trying to start having your project on Alibaba, then you go straight into the Alibaba development environment. For example, you're going for the Amazon, then you completely going into the Amazon ecosystem. But in Web3, you're no longer restricted to a single ecosystem. Instead, you have your own option and you're completely have fully your own data control. And also, as I mentioned, if you're like you using cloud storage, you put in your own data to cloud storage. You think you own the data? No, the cloud provider owns the data. If you're running your own project or service on the cloud, you think you actually own the service? No, actually the cloud do. The cloud have all of your data on the cloud because they are the single entity that own or that run it. But instead, when you enter the Web3, all of the data, or all of the service, all of the things that you have built are completely owned by you because you are the only one that have the private key. Yeah,
and this is why the Web3 is the future.
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. So that was clear enough for us. Thank you so much. And we're gonna go and search for the second question. So the second question, so the second question says, which programming language is used for the Web3?
To be honest, will not be a one programming language belongs to the Web3. Instead, to be honest, actually, every programming language can be used in the Web3 because, for example, as I mentioned, the most popular one, Solidity, are currently the most famous one, are used to develop the smart contract into any EVM compatible blockchain. Also Rust, JavaScript, Go, C++, Java, all of these programming languages that are nowadays we're using can be used to deploy the smart contract in the blockchain. So there isn't a single dedicated programming language that we can or we will use in the Web3. Because to be honest, if we are building the Web3, we are not talking about the smart contract. We're also talking about the peer-to-peer network. And the peer-to-peer network requires to run a software. And the software can be written by any programming language that you are familiar. So there will not have a single or dedicated programming language in the Web3.
That's absolutely clear. Thank you so much. So we will pick one more last question. And the question says what are the main types of blockchain attacks?
Main type, I think, will be the 51%. Because although mostly nowadays the blockchain are running on a POS, proof of stake, there have much less chance for hijacking or attacking the blockchain, but there are pretty high chance of hijacking the entire blockchain. For example, if your POS there's only a few validators, like 5 to 4 or 5 to 6, if your over half of the validator has been taken control by the hackers, you still being attacked or controlled. In another way, the split from the POS, the most famous one previous in past years ago is POW, proof of work, like during a very heavy workload on the computing like CPU or GPU. The most high chance will be, as I mentioned, 51%. If the user have if the hacker taking control of the 51% of the computing power of the blockchain, then the blockchain will literally completely belongs to the hacker.
That's clear. Thank you so much. Really appreciated your contribution today, Mr. Mike. So, Mr. Mike, thank you really for being with us. And he was with us introducing to create the Web3 world, and he is the co-founder and technology director of EDNS. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So now we will be with our last session for today, which we will be talking about a brief introduction to Socialify, which will be conducted by the founder of Mask Network, Mr. Suji Yan. So please, Mr. Suji, all the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, good to go. Pleasure to be invited here with all the friends from Middle East and Africa. I'm right now in a very far place from you. I'm in Estonia, which is the first sovereign nation state to issue e-residency for international visitor. And it's very far away from you guys. But today I want to share something very related to you, the social network. It's more especially the decentralized social network and how it's going to apply for our daily life. So this is my background, founder and CEO of Mass Network, and I was also engineer in AI and also journalist. Before that, let me introduce my understanding of Web3. Let's go to the next page. Yeah. Can we go to the next page? Yeah, okay, great. So this has been a little bit cliche. I believe many other speakers have talked about this similar stuff about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, the relationship between Web 1 and Web 3. The Web 1, let's go to the previous page. The Web 1 is read-only. The Web 2 is read and write. The Web 3 is read, write, and own. So my understanding, especially my ideology understanding, will be very briefly and concise. I think Web 1 is hunter-gatherer society of cyberspace. To compare to the real hunter-gatherer society of the real human history, that we all emerged from Middle East and Africa, and we hunter and gather. There's no governance. There's no clear rule. Web 2 is more about feudalism. We have kingdom Facebook, kingdom Twitter. We have King Zuckerberg. We have all these Web 2 kingdoms that they control everything of your digital asset, digital data. Web 3, on the other side, is the early stage of capitalism that you are able to own something, such as your data, your tokens, and eventually trade it, no matter you like it or not. So this is my understanding. And let's go to the next page. Yeah, please go to the next page. Yeah, so this is what I just talk about, and I would like to especially I would like to focus on the similarity of Web3 and the early capitalism state. Right. We all know the public chain is the fundamental of the Web3 world, right? And this is like a little colonized state of America, as the early North America. You have the colonized Massachusetts. You have the colonized New York. You have all the early 13 states from North America. And in this early stage, early stage nation state, we're gonna have different fundamental stuff for society, such as entertainment. Everyone in a society needs some entertainment. So in this Web3 state, in this Web3 nation, we need some entertainment. We have Axie Infinity, so rich people can watch the relatively poor people to play Axie, to play to earn. We have Cyberpunk and other famous NFT, blue chip NFT. So you can show your social status, right? You're relatively higher social class in the Web3 world. There's financial protocols such as the Uniswap and RV and many other DeFi level protocols. They serve as the financial part. They serve as the central bank of the Web3 world, of the Web3 nation. Then there's the currency and governance. The reserve currency, as we all agree now, is digital gold, most likely Bitcoin. The governance mostly happen on Ethereum and other DAO. So it's like the Congress, like the parliament in the Web3 world. And there is a very large part, it's like right now, if we think Web3 is early network capitalism state, there's a social protocol. There's no public forum. By the way, this picture is about the early Roma Empire, Roma Republic, or early European Republic. There's no social protocol. There's no public forum. That's something we need to build. That's something my daily job is to build the social protocol, and eventually to build more socialify stuff. Let's go to the next page. Yeah. Let's go to the next page. Thank you. So when we talk about the SocialFi and Web3 social, there's several very important parts. We all agree there's instant messages such as Telegram, WeChat, WhatsApp. There's SNS, a little bit more like Instagram, and other like your WeChat friends, WeChat moment. So SNS. There's relatively more interesting stuff like Twitter, right? We all agree, we all know the Elon Musk drama happened recently. In the Web3 world, there's pretty much similar stuff. The IM, people wanted to message each other, not by your email, not by your WeChat ID, not by your Facebook ID. They want to message you based on your ENS, or maybe EDNS, or maybe Bitcoin address. And that's something we want to participate and invest, right? So that's something, I give an example, called Swapchat. And then in the IM, there's also community side. So right now, Discord is very popular, even though it's very Web2. A very interesting thing I think a lot of people missed is Discord become a boarding room, a shareholder discussion platform. If you join NFT projects Discord, you become a shareholder. You're actually hosting the shareholder earning call. It's very different from traditional perspective. And Twitter, we all know many important things of Web3 world and decentralized world happened on Twitter, and even whether Donald Trump will be brought back by Elon Musk is started by a voting on Twitter right now, 1 hour ago. This is all very interesting. So these are examples that all these social scenarios will be rebuilt in a Web3 way, because clearly the Web2 way have a lot of problems that you either have to follow the regulation, or you're kind of like stubborn there. You can't really move unless you have like people like Elon Musk. Let's go to the next page. Let's go to the next page. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm back again. So there's a huge difference when we talk about the Web3 social, and we have to tell the difference. A lot of people were asking me questions, and I think especially for today's audience, a lot from the very successful traditional software companies such as Alibaba, a lot of investors, they ask me questions, and a lot of developers, they ask me questions, how many users does protocol have? How many applications, how many apps you made based on this protocol? These are very common questions, but I think this is not really a good question. These are not really meaningful questions. So we divide this Web3 social part into 4 parts. There is protocol layer, application layer, and there's relatively native and relatively modified or middleware perspective. So what is a protocol layer? It's like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, like email, right? You don't need to make your own applications. People will make your own applications based on the protocol design. So the protocol layer is something very important, and we see a lot of like great examples. Here, for example, IPFS for storage, Arweave for storage, lit protocol for unlocking the content, ENS for name service. We see all these things happening right now. And there's another part. Another very important part is the application layer. So in application layer, all these questions make sense. Like how many users you have. Like we have like 100K user, 1 million DAU. These are the common questions for social product, right? The key difference is protocol don't own any users. You can't say you own users. And I even want to give an opinion. Like I think sometimes users are negative assets. Users are negative asset in a lot of traditional social applications. Why? Because if a user never pay you, and then they disagree with your policy, and they even diss on your decision, just like Twitter previously, no one pays for the $3, no one pays for $8, and they actually get a free service. It's nearly impossible from an application layer to extract the value from the user and say, hey, we have the governance to do that. But it's possible from the protocol layer to tax on the user and eventually make them the citizen of this public forum. One example is no matter who you are, no matter how large your company is, if you want to do a transaction and run a smart contract on Ethereum, you have to pay the gas fee, right? But on the other side, for Twitter, you don't need to do anything. Right? This is a little bit interesting topic. Not a lot of people get it. So in the perspective of mass network and our belief, we believe there will be a huge chance for those modified layers or those middleware layers. So you can build on top of Twitter, Facebook, and all the other Web2 platform and gradually transform them into a Web3 platform, Web3 layer. Please go to the next page. This is a very complicated graph, and I hope you can take a screenshot of what's going on. So why there's no Web3 social network now? Why there's all the bad one? There's all like 5 tokens out there. There's Jet.C, Blue Sky, there's Elon Musk, blockchain, Twitter. Why there's no such thing right now? Because infra is extremely complicated. You can depend to use any centralized service, or you have to use semi-decentralized service in any part of this infra. Today we have Alibaba Cloud as one of the hosts. And I believe a lot of our developers are user of these, SaaS or Alibaba Cloud service. But unfortunately, in the future of Web3 social, we have to find a decentralized Alibaba Cloud. Why? Because if you are censorship resistant, if you say, hey, we want to do a narrow job for everyone on this platform, and it's likely the server you are using is not allow you to do so due to the regulation, due to the sanctions, due to many possible regulation. And you say, okay, let's switch to Ethereum, let's switch to Polygon. Then you figure out that layer 1 cannot store some data. We need store some image and video. Okay, let's go to store some video. And then you figure out, IPFS can do that. But it's very slow because there's no CDN. There's no decentralized CDN. Cloudflare is centralized. So you have to use other solution. Here, we invest in Mason, so that's another solution you can use. And then figure out, I probably need to do some search, elastic search, for all the data I store there. Again, there's no elastic search. There's no SQL, PostSQL, whatever, for the Web3 world. So again, we have to invest in and help to build some data modeling and database such as Ceramic and Co. And then the problem is, there has to be a data aggregator. So we even homebrew our own DID aggregator called NextID. There's a social graph from Lens, Subcaster, CyberConnect. You have to aggregate them all and try to make sure the aggregating process is also decentralized. So I won't go to details of this picture, but I'm just saying the reason we don't have a decentralized social network today is simply because the infra is centralized today. The more we dig into the infra, the more we figure out there's a lot of holes we need to fix. Before we actually fill in all these holes, it's not really possible to have a decentralized social network. How long gonna it take? I'm really positive on the timeline. I think probably another 2 to 5 years, we're gonna see a fully decentralized social network on top of the existing ones. So the existing ones still exist as decentralized, but the value is going to transform into decentralized social network. Please go to the next page. So let's go back to Mass Network. It's our company and how we are doing this game. So we believe we are important middleware between the front end and protocol layer, front end and back end, support layer and the application layer. More especially before Elon Musk acquired Twitter, even before the decentralized Twitter movement, we actually joined the Blue Sky as a community member, which is founded by Jet Dorsey in 2019. So we're super early in the game, and we believe, we, instead of just create some like blockchain ID, it's not enough. We need to let every grandma and grandpa and our parents to jump into the Web3 social. So on the one side, we have all this compatible thing with Twitter, Facebook, front end stuff. On the other side, we also have a lot of backend protocol compatible and components from ENS, .bit, Lens, XMTP, all these things I mentioned. So eventually, how this gonna compare to the real world history of real world revolution? I think it's a little bit like you just go to a relatively feudalism place and you change it to a republic, and that's the revolution happened on the Web 2 and Web 2 to Web 3. You go to the Facebook kingdom, you go to the Twitter kingdom, and you talk to the king, you talk to the Elon, right? Say, hey, Elon, should we decentralize Twitter, make it a protocol? And he may agree with you because that's the only way you are actually able to tax the citizen and also gain their trust simultaneously. All the other ways are very risky, and we see there's a huge dilemma in the social network. Let's go to the next page. All right, so here's my finish on most of my talk, and I want to spend another 1 minute to especially talking about the Twitter thing. As you all know, last night, 12 hours ago, Elon Musk and, according to Twitter, according to news on Twitter, Elon Musk laid off like 1,300 people in a night, and Twitter now have like employee less than 1,000 full-time employee. It's still running. Well, there's probably something broken inside, but it's still running. But I will give you another example of another massively adopted system with a lot of value and with very few employees. One is Bitcoin, one is Ethereum, another is Linux Foundation. So all these great protocols, they have very few employees and they're running on their own. They become something that don't need any more employees. So in this case, I'm not agree on Elon Musk laying off a lot of people, but I think simply are thinking that possible solution out there was turning Twitter into a protocol and eventually turning Facebook and eventually turning every social protocol platform into protocols. That will solve the problem from geopolitics attention, from the dilemma of earning money and dealing with sensitive content such as Donald Trump. That's the problem solver for a lot of questions, and I hope that my speech gonna help the developer to jump into this space. Web3 social and SocialFi is super early. I guess the history of it is we talk in the mainstream is less than 1 year. If you are a developer, you should definitely take a look, and you should definitely open the account in Alibaba Cloud and try to push it into a decentralized space together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suji, for this introduction. So that was a very informative. Thank you so much. So now for the Q&A session itself. So we will pick some of the questions from the social media. So from the live streaming itself. So the first question we picked it is about asking Socialify, how does Socialify affecting the existing social media?
Yeah, one interesting thing is like, as a creator of social media content, people usually never get paid. Even YouTube and TikTok, they claim they have this like creator fund. I think that the number for YouTube last year was like a little bit less than like 1 billion, a few $100 million. But if you really compare to this market cap to its revenue, it's just a tiny part of it, right? And again, they're not paying Google stock, they're not paying Twitter stock, they're paying fiat, which means that the value is diluted over time. You know, if you join early and they don't pay you the share, they don't pay you the token, it's diluted over time. And then why can't they pay you the share? Simply because the SEC, especially the US regulator and a lot of regulators around the world, don't allow them to do so. You can't just say, I will give 10,000 people share in one day. You can't even say, I will give 10,000 people, 100K people share in a few hours. But what we've done, for example, for Mass Network, what we've done is we did something called ITO, initial Twitter offering. We are really early compared to Twitter, but I think this is a great example of how the value transfer is completely different. We did this ITO, and in 1 hour, we jammed the Ethereum blockchain, but we're able to have like more than 10K people join and claim their airdrop and buy their token. It's early adopters reward, right? And over time, we may issue more airdrop and try to incentivize users. So that's one difference, that the ownership is completely different. And it's likely those big companies were never able to switch the ownership due to the compliance regulation, the management team, due to many reasons. Another important part is the social capital. Well, when we talk about a social fund, there's a social capital. For example, I'm a small KOL on Twitter. My friends are larger KOL on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Let me ask you a question. Can I get a loan off my Twitter account? Can I walk into a bank, JP Morgan, and say, hey, my Twitter got 2 million users, 2 million followers, and I want to collateralize my Twitter. Please give me a loan. I will buy a house and I'll buy something for my mom. You can't. Why? Because they're not really your asset. It's not your key. It's not a data. It's not an asset. I mean, even based on the TOS, based on the term of service, based on because there's GDPR, there's many data law. Based on these laws, you can claim Twitter, it is your asset. This account it is your asset, even though they can ban you. The previous interaction is your asset. But it's technically impossible to integrate that into traditional finance system. But I'll give you another cool example. I just have a panel with the founder of AAV, Stanley, and he happened to be also founder of Lens, right? And there's many other cool social protocol, Farcaster, Mapstorm. They're all semi-decentralized social protocols. So my question is, I talk to that guy and I say, what if I'm working with all my social capital NFT and say, oh, I want you into a DeFi bank. I go to the DeFi bank, say, oh, I work on my Instagram because I'm a creator. I post stuff and people tip me. And can I collateralize these posts, these tweets as an asset? Please give me a loan. I'll buy something. And then likely they'll give you a loan instantly within one block time, within 30 seconds. Even right now, it is too early because there's not enough data to determine your personal credit. But very soon, I guess, with more decentralized social network emerging, it is very possible. You don't need to wait for 1 day, 2 days for your loan. You just go to a DeFi protocol, 30 seconds. You don't even have KYC. You don't even do KYC. There probably will be some DK KYC, zero knowledge KYC for your data and for usage of the fund. but don't need to worry about passport, don't need to worry about your visa. This is an amazing part of it. So the example we have today is very early, but it is very fun. Last year, we invest in a company. We helped a company called Send become the early investor, and they become doing pretty good job. And one day, they just helped Jack Dorsey to sold his first tweet. The tweet is, this is my first tweet. This Twitter is the first tweet on Twitter. This tweet NFT was sold for $3.2 million in one day. And there's no currency, someone just pay it, right? This is a rare example because Jack Dorsey, he's a famous CEO, he's a billionaire. I'm not sure whether Elon Musk is going to do it, but I'm saying if a billionaire's tweet was $3 million, maybe my tweet was like 20K, and your tweet was like, 2K, and you can just collateralize to have a credit card, to have credit on DeFi. And this is very important. It makes your asset something meaningful. Before this thing, before SocialFi, before decentralized social network, it is impossible. But this is my answer. Yeah,
that is amazing, actually. So, actually, we will pick one more question as well, if you allow us, please. The other question we picked is it's saying what issue you can solve with the SocialFi.
Yeah. So I just give few examples of part can never do it, right? The Web3 part can do it. So what problem can we solve? Again, because mass networks business mainly built on existing Web2 platforms such as Twitter. And I would like to use Twitter as example again. Well, thanks for the recently drama with Elon Musk, right? And I think one thing he's facing a lot of challenge, especially, is whether he should bring back those relatively right-wing alt-right account, especially the previous president Donald Trump, right? If he bring it back, he will face a lot of challenge. A lot of people don't like him, and this decision will be disaster for many company business. If he don't bring it back, it is against his will to create a relatively free speech platform, a relatively better platform for everyone, right? Because clearly the previous president of the United States cannot use it. So this is a dilemma, and this dilemma will not solve by any company. If you choose to be a company, you can never solve the dilemma. But if you choose to be a protocol and you issue some token or you have some peer-to-peer functionalities, it become a social protocol, SocialFi with some like just like GameFi and DeFi with some Web3 element, you can solve the problem because you will have protocol governance. You will have protocol politics. Just like how the Ethereum is trying to not censor the OFAC sanction list, but on the other side, the OFAC can impose some power on these POS nodes, POS miners. It's a dynamic balance. It's like, hey, as a protocol, Ethereum is not able to censor those people on the sanction list. But since they're POS, maybe the US government and the OFAC can push something on it and create a dynamic balance. A dynamic balance is crucial for social protocols. It's crucial for public forum because there's exchange of ideas, there's discussion, there's battling, but it's not black box. What we are afraid of social network today, it is complete black box, no matter it's algorithm black box or a single guy's black box or a group of people's black box. And the problem and solutions such as decentralized social network, SocialFi, and the social protocol can make it a dynamic balancing place. People can have discussion and have power dynamic instead of black box. It is not problem solver. It's not saying, hey, we solved the problem with Trump, we solved the problem with left wing against right wing. This is not going to be solved by technology, but we can bring better environment. People can discuss instead of having a black box. This is quite important. Just like how DeFi bring the non-American investor to invest the best token launched by American company. But everyone can do that. The SocialFi can do the same thing on the social network for the TMT and social platforms.
Thank you so much. So that was so clear for this. And thank you so much for your impressive presentation for today. That was very informative and it's really impressive. Thank you so much, Suji.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us today. So as that was our last session for today, and we wait and please wait us for tomorrow for more technical workshops and informative sessions. Hope you have enjoyed today's sessions and more to come in the coming days. So please stay tuned and let's build the Web3 future in META region together. As well, I would like to thank the organizers along with us, Chain ID and as well NetJump, as well all of our participants, partners. In addition to that, I would like to thank all the speakers today for their contribution and the very informative sessions they delivered. As well, special thanks to Cindy and the backend team who makes this event work smoothly and perfect. So see you all tomorrow and let's build a promising Web3 future at the META region. Have a great day ahead.
Recording stopped.
Also a year we drove some of the most dramatic transformations all over the world, as it became more digitalized than ever before. The spirit of innovation runs deep in our veins at Alibaba Cloud. We've delivered new technologies to our customers. We've contributed to open source communities to explore and share ideas. We're bringing AI to life.
能够把加州大学伯克利分校所这个珍藏的一些古籍善本，通过数字化的方式，能够把它保留下来。
We've reached new heights in the tech space through our innovations. We've strengthened relationships with our customers and partners through sharing the same vision. We're continuing to invest in local markets all around the world.
Investing $1 billion in the next 3 years in Southeast Asia.
Thank you very much.
We're supporting more iconic brands than ever to reach their digital ambitions.
I'm very proud that we are one of
In 2021, we've engaged even more customers and partners throughout their digitalization journeys. As our world rapidly moves into an even more digitalized age, we are cognizant of the incredible resources needed to support this, and thus must also ensure we are looking after our planet. We are committed to becoming more efficient and sustainable to build a greener and brighter future. This year, we're going further than we have ever before. And as the global leading cloud services provider, we are ready to accelerate the digitalization of all our customers and partners. At Alibaba Cloud, we truly believe in what we do, and we're constantly striving to push the limits of what's possible. Welcome 2022. New beginnings, new tides, new possibilities. 2021. The year our world was forced to reassess and redefine what its future looked like. It was also a year we drove some of the most dramatic transformations all over the world, as it became more digitalized than ever before. The spirit of innovation runs deep in our veins at Alibaba Cloud. We've delivered new technologies to our customers. We've contributed to open source communities to explore and share ideas. We're bringing AI to life.
能够把加州大学伯克利分校所这个珍藏的一些古籍善本，通过数字化的方式，能够把它保留下来。
We've reached new heights in the tech space through our innovations. We've strengthened relationships with our customers and partners through sharing the same vision. We're continuing to invest in local markets all around the world.
Investing $1 billion in the next 3 years in Southeast Asia.
Thank you very much.
We're supporting more iconic brands than ever to reach their digital ambitions.
I'm very proud that we are one of
In
the
2021,
first
we've engaged even more customers and partners throughout their digitalization journeys. As our world rapidly moves into an even more digitalized age, we are cognizant of the incredible resources needed to support this, and thus must also ensure we are looking after our planet. We are committed to becoming more efficient and sustainable to build a greener and brighter future. This year, we're going further than we have ever before. And as the global leading cloud services provider, we are ready to accelerate the digitalization of all our customers and partners. At Alibaba Cloud, we truly believe in what we do, and we're constantly striving to push the limits of what's possible. Welcome 2022. New beginnings, new tides, new possibilities. 2021. The year our world was forced to reassess and redefine what its future looked like. It was also a year we drove some of the most dramatic transformations all over the world, as it became more digitalized than ever before. The spirit of innovation runs deep in our veins at Alibaba Cloud. We've delivered new technologies to our customers. We've contributed to open source communities to explore and share ideas. We're bringing AI to life.
能够把加州大学伯克利分校所这个珍藏的一些古籍善本，通过数字化的方式，能够